The time to join us. So my name is Jamie. I'm with the University of Michigan Flint. I work in the Office of International Admissions. So you probably have already gotten some emails and communications from me. Again, appreciate the time you're taking to join us today. We're going to do a brief presentation and then leave some time at the end for a Q&A session. I have with me today Joseph Vayner, who is our Director of Undergraduate Admissions. He's going to be helping a bit at the end with our Q&A session. So please keep in mind like any questions you might have. Feel free to type them in the chat. We'll get to them as we can. And then later on, if you maybe feel comfortable unmuting yourself, we'd be happy to chat with you that way as well. So this presentation is to give all of you a little bit more information on the University of Michigan Flint. So we know you've already submitted your application to our main campus in Ann Arbor, and we are, grateful that you've chosen to share your information with us on the Flint campus. And we look forward to hopefully processing your application. I know some of you probably have already gotten an admissions decision from us, but those of you who may not have or are still considering this campus, we hope to give you a little bit more information and hope clarify any doubts you may have. So again, my name is Jamie. My contact information is on this slide here. Feel free to follow up with me after if you don't get a chance to ask your question or connect with us today. So some quick information about our University of Michigan Flint campus. So the University of Michigan is a 3-campus system. So the main campus, the one you're probably most familiar with, is actually located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is about an hour away from where we are in Flint. So we are a smaller regional campus of the University of Michigan. So the main campus in Ann Arbor has close to 50,000 students, and while we only have around 6,000 students, just to give you a little bit of context, their campus is going to have many more students in comparison to ours. But it's kind of nice. Our smaller campus can give you a lot of benefits as well. So we have about 40 countries represented on our campus. We were ranked best in the Midwest. We have about 100 majors offered at each level. So we have bachelor's degree programs, master's, PhD programs. Our classroom sizes are going to be 14:1. So again, going back to that smaller campus size, you're going to be able to connect with your faculty a little bit better in that way because they are such small classes rather than like a big lecture hall that you might find on our main campus. But then being a part of the University of Michigan, and you still get a University of Michigan degree, you become a part of the University of Michigan Alumni Network once you graduate. So same standard of education that you would expect at the main campus in Ann Arbor, just a little bit smaller campus environment. So why choose UM-Flint? So we again have a smaller campus environment. You have a chance to stand out, get more involved. A lot of our international students do end up, working on campus, getting involved with different clubs and organizations on campus. It's really the best way to get the full experience while you're here at the Flint campus. You can have a more personalized experience, again, just having a chance to connect with faculty and even the staff members, your academic advisors. They'll be available to you pretty regularly. We do have some different housing options. I will show you that at the end of this presentation. And then if you're not familiar with Michigan in general, we do experience all 4 seasons. It is very cold and snowy here now, but we do have some nice warm summers as well. So if that's something you're interested, maybe you're in somewhere where you might not get snow throughout the year. So that's something kind of cool about Michigan in general. So at our UM-Flint campus, we kind of emphasize real life learning experiences, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So I'll kind of explain what's going on in each of these pictures. In the top left, you can see a simulation lab for our nursing degree students. So what they have is kind of like a robotic mannequin that imitates what a patient might do. So they don't have to be in a hospital setting to get that real life work experience before getting out into the field. Something very unique about our program, and students, I think, really appreciate it. In the top right, we have an example of a theater production that's been put on at UM-Flint. So this is something that you could participate in even if you weren't a theater major, but we do have theater majors. They're going to be maybe a little bit tough to beat out to get into a production, but if it's something you're interested in, maybe it's not your major, but you want to get involved, that's a kind of cool thing that you could do. I think there's about 6 productions that they do each year. And then in the bottom left, we have an example of a student who's making a Baja car. So one of our engineering students. So that's something if you are in that field or if you're in one of our engineering clubs, you may have the opportunity to participate in. And then last but not least, on the bottom right, we have an example of a physical therapy student observing, some real hands-on experience. Our PT program is actually the #1 in the state of Michigan, and it is the only one in the University of Michigan campus system. So even any student who's looking to complete a PT program at U of M would actually come here to our Flint campus. So that's a little unique as well. Cool. So then a little bit more, I'm just going to highlight some of our most popular programs. So this obviously isn't a 100-degree program. So you can always go to our website to see what's available. I know many of you have already filled out that Google form that we sent out to see what majors are offered. But I'll just highlight a few. We do have a mechanical engineering degree, computer science, biology. So a lot of STEM degree programs are very popular on our campus. We have business programs. Each of the specializations are listed here on this slide. We do have pre-professional programs as well. So thinking like pre-medical, pre-veterinary, pre-dental, stuff like that. You could pursue that in your undergraduate degree here at UM-Flint. A lot of our health programs are listed here. Some of these are more focused for graduate degree programs. So if that's something you're interested in pursuing at the master's level, you could do that as well. But again, our website does have all of our programs. And if you haven't already, you could fill out that Google form to see a full list of the programs offered here at the Flint campus. So they may differ a bit from what you've seen at the University of Ann Arbor. We do have a little bit less offerings compared to what they have at the main campus. So just to be aware of that. So another unique thing about being a part of the University of Michigan 3-campus system, we do have the opportunity to offer you a preferred admission opportunity with the College of Engineering in the Ann Arbor campus. So something you could do if you were really, you really wanted to go to the Ann Arbor campus and you're interested in computer science or engineering, you could do it this way, where you would take many of your general courses, so either general education or your more broad engineering courses here at the Flint campus. So usually the first 2 years would be completed here at UM-Flint, and then you would apply and get a preferred admission to the University of Ann Arbor College of Engineering. So for a little bit of context, we have an undergraduate computer science program, we have a general engineering program, and then I mentioned the mechanical engineering. The mechanical engineering, you could complete all 4 years here at the University of Michigan Flint. But if you did that general engineering program, that would usually be for students who are looking to transfer. So again, you would take your general classes and then hopefully go on to Ann Arbor. The Ann Arbor campus does have 17 different engineering majors. So a lot more to choose from in comparison to what we can offer. It's a great opportunity if you did want to get both a smaller campus experience, maybe to get started, get acclimated to the United States and classes here, but then go on to still get that Ann Arbor experience as well. So just for your information, we're going to go over the undergraduate cost of attendance. So many of you got an email from me regarding English proficiency in the affidavit of financial support. So this dollar amount listed under the lower division, the total estimated expenses, that's what we're looking for in the affidavit of financial support. So it's going to include the estimated cost of attendance for 1 full academic year. So both 2 semesters for tuition, estimated costs for living expenses, health insurance, which is mandatory for international students, books and supplies, miscellaneous transportation. So anything you can kind of think of that you may need to spend money on, specifically for your education while you're here will be included in that total estimated expenses, which is $38,400 US. So if you haven't yet gotten the information on the affidavit of financial support, you will be getting that at some point. Again, we're still, working to get everyone's application process, but that is something that you would, work with your sponsor to get completed. And then something a little bit more uplifting than that dollar amount in the previous slide, we have some scholarships that you will likely be eligible for. So one of our scholarships is test optional. So as you can see here, scholarships amount can vary based on your GPA on the 4.0 scale. And then if you submit SAT or ACT scores, that dollar amount could be increased. But we do have a test optional scholarship. So if you haven't taken an SAT or ACT, you may be eligible for that test optional scholarship, which is just based on your GPA. And it is $1,000. But again, if you have already taken an SAT or ACT, I recommend that you submit your scores to us because that scholarship amount can definitely increase and help you bring that cost of attendance down a bit. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me directly. So it's going to be different for everyone, obviously based on their GPA and test scores, but I'd be happy to connect with anyone one-on-one if you have questions about that. So a little bit more about a life on campus. We do have over 100 different student clubs and organizations. One that I always mention for international students is the International Student Organization. This club obviously allows international students to connect with one another, as well as having you connect with domestic students and our staff working in our Center for Global Engagement. They usually put on those events together. We at the University of Michigan Flint do not have varsity sports, but we do have club and intramural sports. So if you played a sport, growing up or something you want to get involved in once you travel here, you could definitely do so. Intramural sports are played against other campus teams, so just other students from the University of Michigan Flint. And then club sports are played against other institutions, usually in the area. Study abroad is something you could take advantage of even as an international student. So you'd be studying abroad kind of ×2 because you'd be coming here to the United States. But then you could also travel to another country for maybe a semester or a summer while you are studying at the University of Michigan Flint. We do have fraternities and sororities. We have 12 on campus. They're a little bit different than what you might see in a movie or TV show. They're a little bit more community service based, so you can give back to the city around us, which is a nice opportunity. And it's still a good way to make friends and have connections on campus. We do have tutoring service, student success center, so resources for you to help you succeed throughout your classes, making sure you're registering for the right classes and succeeding in those classes as well. Okay, so a little bit more about Flint. So again, we're about an hour away from the Ann Arbor campus. And I would say probably about a little over an hour away from Detroit, Michigan, which is one of the bigger cities in the state, which is a hub for, the automotive industry. If any of you are familiar with like Ford and GM, they're based in Detroit, Michigan. But anyway, so a little bit more about Flint. We are located very close to the Flint Farmers Market, which is a nice place to get food. There's a ton of different food options. And then sometimes you can even get groceries there as well. They're like a 2-minute walk from our dormitory, which I think is pretty neat. In our city, we do have a cultural center. So if you're interested in the arts, or even I think they host concerts, that's something that you could take advantage of because it is in our location. And then at the bottom left, you can see Capitol Theater, which is a theater that was built in the early 1900s. It has been restored, so they show movies regularly. So there's a lot of stuff to do in our area. We also have a ton of different restaurants in the downtown Flint area. So it's nice to be able to get off campus to get some food options as well. Yeah, so this is a picture of our actual residence hall for first-year students. it's kind of nice in comparison to other universities and institutions in the United States. Some of them may be quite old. This one was built, I think, within the last 15 years. So it's actually a little bit more spacious than what you may see, again, in TVs and movies, or what, if you have family members that are studying in the United States, maybe a little different than what they've experienced. And I can show you what the dorm actually looks like. So it's quite nice that you have like your own living area and a little kitchenette as well in our residence halls. So in this example, you would be sharing a room with another student, but you would have a shared living space and then a couple bathrooms and then the kitchenette. And then this one shows the same kind of layout, but you would have your own private room. So the cost of housing would vary slightly if you chose a single room option, but that's up to you. After you do receive an admissions decision, you can connect with housing, apply for housing, and see what works best for you. So again, I know all of you have already submitted your application to the Ann Arbor campus, and we have received your information from them. So we are working on processing those. For those of you who already opted in, thank you for filling that out. We're working on getting decisions to everyone, hopefully in the next week or so. But for anyone who hasn't opted in yet, I hope I can answer any questions you might have about our campus and what we can offer. So at this time, I'd like to, open that up for anyone who has any questions. I'd be happy to go back to any slides if you want me to expand on anything. I believe we already have a question from Nor. Nor, if you are comfortable unmuting yourself, I'd be happy to take your question. Or if anyone has any questions, to put them in the chat as well, and we can take them that way.